What's the latest update with TJ? How is he doing?
TJ, as you know, he's on his recovery journey. He had a major surgery 3 weeks ago, approximately 3 weeks ago, and he has made some phenomenal progress since then. He is now able to operate a motorized wheelchair. We believe that he's beyond all of the major surgeries that he's had to endure.
How many has he had?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Yeah, there's
5,
there's been a lot.
10. He's been in a hospital for the last 8 months. So he's had multiple surgeries. This last one was actually the one we were waiting for. Since that, he has been well on his way to recovery. He can operate a motorized wheelchair, and at the rehabilitation center that he's at, the workers joke that he's trying to escape. But they actually put a sign on the back and said he has to be supervised because he speeds. And so I told him we're going to have to put some sirens on the wheelchair for you because he's a police officer, so he's used to going fast. Some of the other things that he's doing and the progress that he's making. Yesterday I was actually in Atlanta with him and was able to sit through his therapy with him and help encourage him. And, he stood up for the first time with support. But it's like been 8 months since I've seen him stand at his full height. So that was amazing to see. Also heard him speak several words yesterday. He said, "Hi, Mom." And he said, "I win, you lose." We were talking about a spades competition. Our family is very competitive and loud, and we just, we debate a lot, different topics, and we were talking about like who's the family spades champion. We're starting to see like significant traces of his personality. He's not able to fully speak yet. He has to relearn everything. He has to relearn how to walk, how to talk, how to swallow, just everything that like you and I, our brains automatically just function that way. We don't think about it. But it's kind of like he's starting from scratch. But the progress has been phenomenal. We are just thanking God for answering all of our prayers about his recovery and just trying to stay prayerful and focused on him getting better. So I think he's doing really well, and he's just getting stronger and stronger each and every day.
I know you said the surgery that you guys were hoping for this one. Can you describe what that is? If not, totally understand, but because I know when it comes to medical things, it's personal, but
yeah,
I didn't know what
we were trying to figure out what the name of it was, but we didn't. We couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, it's the Korean. I cannot pronounce it, but it's basically skull surgery.
Skull surgery.
And so this was the very last significant procedure that needed to be done. So now, ever since then, we've been fully immersed in the rehab. So it's just nothing but rehab focus. There are no more medical concerns. There are no more medical stipulations that's stopping him at the moment. It's just 100% rehab.
Tell us about, you were just in Atlanta yesterday. Tell us about what has it been look like for y'all to visit TJ. It seems like you guys are very close, friends, family, and whatnot, but I'm assuming his kids been there, but then what does that look like, been visiting? And I can imagine it's been a lot.
Yeah, my younger sister Christina lives in Atlanta. So that's been very helpful. The Shepherd Center also has family quarters. And so that's been extremely helpful. We probably go down there once. I go down, so I'll just speak for myself. So I go down there once a month to visit him. I took my nieces down there in March. In March. We drove down there in March. So I had my two nieces and my 10-year-old. So a 6, 8, and 10-year-old in the car driving to Atlanta. So that was very interesting. We also have I would say, musical family in like we like to sing and dance, and so there was a lot of singing in the car on the way there. So that was good. They got to see their dad. They were very excited about that. They actually also went back for spring break, so they were able to spend a week down there visiting TJ. So we just kind of try to rotate in and out and make sure that he just has all the support he needs. Terrence was down there visiting with his new baby, his wife. Chief Doyle, Chief of Police for Ferguson Police Department, he was down there this past weekend also with his wife Yolanda, and they've been very supportive of the family. They've been to Atlanta a couple of times. So, I mean, just, everyone is just trying to support and just be there for TJ as he recovers and gets through, his journey.
Y'all know TJ best. What do you think in his mind these visits, how important are they for him?
I think they're extremely important for him. He gets emotional when it's time for us to leave. This time around, he was very, we're like a storytelling family. Like everybody always has a story to tell, especially like when you come from a family of cops, they always have a story.
Always got a
Police
story.
chase.
Yeah.
So we're always like telling stories. So, trying to keep him up on current events. I told him that, my daughter had a baby, so he's a great uncle. He got emotional about that. But it's just, he's been in a hospital for so long. He probably feels like he's missing out on what's going on. So we're just trying to keep him updated, like, you're not missing anything. We're all waiting for you to get better and get well. So just trying to keep him motivated and encourage him. And, TJ has very strong faith in God, and just helping him understand that, God is here and it's going to be okay. Like, you're going to get through this. You have all of us here with you to support you, and you don't have to worry about a thing.
To see what he went through, and then to see him just yesterday saying, I win and whatnot, what are those emotions, or what are those thoughts and feelings when you see him being able to stand up, doing these things? These are milestones again in his life.
Yeah, my thought is it's a pure miracle. He was in an induced coma for a very long time, and he was transferred to Atlanta in the November timeframe. And, from my perspective, to be able to see him, it's been so long, like I forgot how tall he was, right? Until he stood up, and then I'm like, okay, TJ. And
You don't have that grasp when he's in a chair either still.
or just laying in the bed, just because it's just been just such a long time. And then, when he spoke, he was able to, he said a few words for us. We were in therapy with him, and so his speech therapist asked, like, I was in there with my older sister, Ramona, and she pointed to her and she said, who is that? I want you to write it down for me. And he wrote Ramona. And who is that? And I said, I know, TJ, this is harder. It's harder to spell this than Ramona. And he wrote Evelyn. He struggled a bit with the L, but I mean, he wrote the EVE. YN, we had to help him with the L, but that's okay. Like, he knows who I am, he knows my name, and, you know, like I told him, it's gonna be difficult to spell my name. But he wrote down all of his siblings' names. And so that was just remarkable to see from kind of where he has been along this journey.
Really, what has the support been from the community? I know from law enforcement, but not even that, just the amount of support has been incredible to see from our standpoint, but for y'all, what has that been looking like?
The support has been tremendous. Backstoppers, the Police Wives Association, you know, again, Ferguson Police Department and Chief Doyle, Faith Church. TJ attends the one in Earth City. I attend the one in Weldon Springs, and the lead pastor is Pastor David Crank and his wife Nicole. They've been phenomenal. A special shout out to Pastor Phil Clemens. He plays basketball with TJ on Thursdays, and he's been up to the hospital. You know, they've just been the epitome of what a church family should be. They sent the girls gifts for Christmas to just make sure they had a really good Christmas. So, I mean, it was really, the support has been phenomenal. Anyone you want to add?
I would say so. I would say the Wounded Blue organization comes to mind. They've been a significant presence since right around the December timeframe. So we stay in touch often. They're always asking how can they continue to support, and they've certainly done that. So also the Atlanta community, they have gathered around TJ, and even the Atlanta Police Department, they've gathered around him. They've visited him. They've checked in on him. The staff there has really become family. They've really become someone. I mean, when you see them every day, you know, and they have a vested interest in making sure that he gets to where he needs to go, because they truly care. And the compassion that the Atlanta community has shown us, the family, that has been outstanding to watch.
You reminded me about, there's a photo you sent about the basketball. Is he playing basketball, or what does that look like that?
No, but he is able to hold things. He is able to like help lift himself up. He can operate his motorized wheelchair, and he actually, when his daughters were there for spring break, they had a race. He was in his wheelchair and she was in a wheelchair, and they raced, and we're a very competitive family, and so like he didn't let her win, but he is the progress is still, like, he still has a long way to go, but it is the, you know, saying the words. I haven't heard his voice since early August. And, you know, just kind of hearing it this past weekend, and, you know, knowing that, you know, he's on his way, right? And knowing that God did this is just phenomenal. So it's, you know, he can do some things, but he is still learning. He has to relearn everything that we kind of learned when we were toddlers. But his cognitive ability is there. Like, he knows who he is. When I'm telling him stories and I'm like, TJ, do you remember the time when? And he's shaking his head, yeah. You know, there's this running family joke that I'm a bad driver. And my sister said, TJ, you know your sister can't drive, right? And he said, yeah. And then she started telling him a story about my driving, because we actually drove to Atlanta. So it's just that, you know, just seeing the progress from when I was there in March that he's made. And, you know, I was really concerned about the surgery and that everything was just gonna go well. And then he's so strong. He just comes through like a champ. And, I was talking to one of his therapists, and she asked him to write down one word to describe your sister. And he went she went sister by sister. And he wrote bossy for my sister Ramona and me, like they're bossy. And then she asked him to write down a word to describe his daughters, and he wrote sassy, and he said sassy. So, I mean, he just, just to see those things, it's just amazing.
I was going to say, to see his spirit and his humor, his
Yeah.
personality shine through, does that give you the hope that you guys have been holding on to and hoping to see?
Yeah, I think TJ's story is not over. It's just beginning. It's just a new chapter. And just to kind of see his personality shine through, like it helps us kind of see and feel that he is still in there. He is still himself. He is still funny and like just all his personality traits are still there.
They are.
And it's great to see. So he's coming back. And, with a brain injury, things don't ever go as fast as we want them to go, but he's on God's time. So he will, be done with his rehabilitation when he's done with his rehabilitation.
Really, my last two questions, and I'll open it up to y'all. I just from hearing everything about TJ before all of this happened, I mean, talking about what an incredible father and family member he is, very strong, competitive.
Yes.
But what have you learned about your friend or your brother through all of this? I think it only does it reaffirm everything you thought about him and more.
I mean, TJ has always been very athletic. He played football for McKendree University in Illinois, ran track. I mean, he's always been strong, right? I think this reaffirms his strength because I think for a normal person in a normal body type to go through that traumatic experience, it wouldn't have ended well. But because he was already like fit and, just took care of his body, it just made, it's just like, just to see him like pulling through, he fought to stand up yesterday. He didn't stand up like we would just stand up. It was a literal fight that I can do this, and I'm gonna show my two sisters and mom that I can stand up right now. And he did that. And so that was it was amazing to see. And then the staff that's working with him, they are phenomenal. They all love him. You can't go down the hall without somebody saying, "Hi, TJ, how's it going, TJ? I saw you trying to escape yesterday, TJ." So, I mean, it's just, I think he's in the right place to go where he needs to be.
Anything for you?
I just feel like when we talk about him and what all he's been through, I think back to the conversations that me and him had right before his last major procedure, and it was basically, "You got this. You're strong. You made it this far. This is it. Like, once you pass this step, now we can focus on the real event, which is the rehab." And when we looked at each other, it was like, I know, I got it. And when I saw him afterwards, he had it, and he was good.
Really, my last question, and then whatever else you want to add. People always want to know how they can help. What does that look like? How can they help? I'm assuming continue with the GoFundMe or anything else that y'all suggest. I know, I can imagine prayers are always welcomed.
Of course, absolutely. We do have a GoFundMe that we set up for TJ and a trust. just so we don't want him to worry about anything, right? We just want him to be able to focus on his recovery. He still has a long road ahead, and he has 2 daughters that have to be taken care of. So there is a GoFundMe for Officer Travis Brown that we have out there. Prayers are always welcome. We are a Christian family, and we know that God is going to see us through this. He is more than able, and the story's not over yet. There's more to come. So all prayers are always welcome. And just, if you're just, I think about TJ all the time because that's my brother and I love him and I miss him. But just, send up a prayer for him.